So the guards came down to the house.
So the guards came down to the house. They arrested me. I leaned back and I just said to my missus, I think it was Paul McGurk, I said, let Paul McGurk know that I'd been arrested, because groups of, I wouldn't say protesters, more like followers, people that had been following what's going on, were actually going and protesting outside the police stations when we were in there. I think I was in the third group to be arrested. So
you were all arrested like a kind of like raids at dawn. You know what I mean?
7:10. I was actually getting ready to go to work. I was working at the time, painting, decorating, and
that alone as like police force, I'm trying to think of many times. And many people, was it 19 you say were arrested?
19.
20 if you include Keith Preston, but he died in the process, so he never actually
that's it. Philip Preston.
Sorry, Philip Preston.
And we mentioned that as well. Philip would have been like kind of I would have known Philip would have done a lot of things for him because he was the talent person of the year.
That's right, at the time, yeah.
Which was like he lived around the back of my house and he had a heart attack. But Philip Preston's name's being cleared as well, has it?
Well,
no,
it wasn't
it has by
cleared.
everybody now.
It was clear today he died, unfortunately, because he was still innocent the day he died. He'd never actually made it to court.
Okay.
So the indictment is just cancelled. So he would have died with a clean slate, but he never got the chance to actually clear his name like we did.
Yeah, alright.
And he never had that moment.
Wanted him to stay on the indictment because she knew he'd be found innocent, you know. He showed up late, he just marched. He was picked out because he was tall. That was it.
It's big lad.
Big lad. Tall, big.
Lovely lad.
The gas thing was when the public order unit come in, it was the only time you actually see Philip in any of the footage that he talks, because the rest he's just towering over everybody, you know.
Yeah.
But it was the only time where the public order unit we were having our sit down in front of the Jeep, and the public order unit are all lined up here, and poor Philip is standing in front of him, kind of over like this. And the guard's like, move, and he goes, I'd love to help you, guard. I'd love to move. But he goes, where am I going to go, guard?
There's loads of
and that was it. There's absolutely no other interaction with Philip.
And you can see that kind of the footage. So, and this goes all the way. Like the thing about people listening to this, like when I was listening to this, I was like, there's no way someone's going to get done for kidnapping. And then as I start unraveling, like going to the thing, it was kind of caught my attention. So,
Paddy, everyone was saying like, yous are mad, like it's never going to make it, right? Nobody thought it was going to go to court. But like, the madness started the day Enda Kenny came out and said to Paul Murphy in the middle of it all, you kidnapped her. Claire Bourne was saying it, all the media, and they were all planting the seed, who was going to say kidnapping? A slow march, because the prosecution made clear that the third exit was her to continue on the slow march. She was being put out a little. Get over it, he said. It happens all over the country. They were slow marching. You can see it through the video. Nobody, and in fact, Scott Masterson kept saying to her, "Come out and talk to us. Come out. Who's going to kidnap you?" If they're saying, just come out and answer our questions. Right. And just to go with the madness, because with your arrest, the one that came out the most in the courts was Scott Marston's arrest, was horrific, because they came in armed guards. He was making the lunch for his 2 children, and they had a female guard with him, went in, guns, everything, and a little girl was roaring and crying. Her dad was getting arrested. There was men with guns in her house, and they put him in handcuffs in front of his children. And the barrister said, what did you put him in handcuffs for in front of his children? He had to let him go over and comfort his child and say, she actually tried to make, say, this, why did he come in at 6 a.m? Why did he handcuff? They want to tell you you're not political. What you did is wrong.
But he's not arrested by appointment. That's not how that works.
Shawnee Fitzpatrick and everyone else does. But in the end, she said, did you think he was going to run off? Did you think he was going to stab himself with the butter knife and run off on the child's cheese strings and go on the run? Like the barrister actually said, this is ridiculous. You did that to deny him his access to his solicitor, because no solicitor's around at 6:30, 7 in the morning, and you wanted him to feel like a criminal. And so in fact, when Scott Marston should be admired, and his daughters will vindicate when the future goes on, that what you said, protected the privatisation of war.
And this is stuff that came out in the court.
And everyone's saying we're mad, but we knew how far they were going to push this.
So what happened then? So say we got, and I'm not skipping, I was just kind of because I want to.
Well, before we do skip on, let's go back to the part that you said about Scott arrested by appointment.
Right.
2 of the lads had that option. Okay, I think it was Mick and Kieran. They were given that option. But when they went down to make a statement, they were told that they would have to give it under caution, which basically meant that anything they said would be incriminating. So they refused. Now, when they were asked,
the statement without solicitor.
Exactly, yeah. Right. So when they were asked why did they not give that option to Scott, I'm sure most people looking at this from Tala will know Garda Rooney is well known. Garda Rooney was the man that arrested Scott, and his answer was, well, we felt that this would be the best option for him. That was his answer. Now Scott's never in trouble. Scott runs his own business. He's lived in the same family home for over 30 years. He's the father of 2 young children. He has a partner who works as well. So there was no need for it. Absolutely no need for it. It was well over the top.
and all, like, so we knew that they didn't spend all this, just while we're on conspiracy, they had all these dawn raids, right? But they also had 4 months of people doing overtime, doing investigations. What came out in the trial was, right, and this came out, there was 2 parallel trials running at the same time, you know, in the beginning when Jobstown was not guilty.
So this is where it does turn into conspiracy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you're trying to make this situation like an impact in a way, and not even towards like any kind of parties, but towards like as nearly like revenge to me.
Yeah, it was the voice of the left.
Yeah.
It was whoever. It was the people rising. We had a banker who actually bankrupted this country in court. Shawnee Fitzpatrick was his name, and there was an investigation going on. And during the Jobstown trials, very early on, he was acquitted. And the grounds he was acquitted on was that the Garda's never tried to investigate his innocence. And that's a reason for acquittal. They never tried to investigate his innocence. Now, that was enough for one of the richest, you know, really the elite class to be
This
acquitted,
is when the country
sent out,
collapsed.
vindicated.
A different case altogether.
Yeah, but this was on trial there 10 weeks
This
ago.
is
The
the
start of his
man's
trial,
trial,
right?
okay.
It was on trial at the same time as this was, but he got to walk out, you know. And no big thing in the media about why did he walk out, why did he do this, he bankrupted the country, and there's loads of evidence, you know, to say that, you know, he did loads of things that were corrupt, but because they never sought to find his innocence, that's enough to acquit. Now you come across to the Jobstown trial. In the evidence, job item number 4, the 4th most important thing to do was to go do a door-to-door knock in Jobstown and gather evidence and ask people, what did you think of what happened on the day, you know? They dropped that, they scrapped that off, right? Now they all met in this hotel and they were having a job of what we do, and they scrapped that. The only people they interviewed were 180 guards, all right?
That number keeps getting banded about. It's actually 108.
108 is there, right? Thanks. 108 guards, right? On-cost on staff that worked up there with the phone, all right? Everyone in there, and no one else. And they only went, and they never. And he said, "Is there something missing here?" There was 700 protests on the day. Should you not have asked them what the they think?
So they
of the guards?
didn't ask any eyewitnesses rather than the people.
No
that were charged.
eyewitnesses, only guards.
The eyewitnesses wouldn't have given them any information that would help them with their conviction.
Yes.
Would only have helped us.
They should have been acquitted because they always seeked to find them guilty. But what was worse than that, and what happened on the stand, which is very important, was it's not just a conspiracy that they lied on that stand. Joan Burton got up and get lied. I can say this because this was proven in the court. Catherine Sapone got up and lied. It was proven in the courts.
And how was that? Them 2 little sparks. Give us a little example of how that was proven.
Example of Joan Burton lying in the court. One saying that trying to hide why our political agenda was there, you know. No, I never, you know, we weren't in fight. It was going back and forth. She kept tripping up over evidence constantly. Another thing what she said was she was terrified for her life. Kept in find this fear. But then we switched to a camera in the car, and they're having a chat. They're laughing. She said, "This is a woman who's terrified." She says, "Do you know what you do?" Now she didn't know this was her own phone. She didn't know she was being recorded. She didn't know this. You know, initially, her own phone was recording because she said, "Record them children there." You know, she said.
I'll actually give you exact wording on this because I've watched this so many times.
Yeah.
And so this was someone else recording on the phone.
No,
she-
this is Burton's phone
Burton's
sitting there
phone.
in front of her. And she
So the
didn't
same way
even
the
know.
kind of Limor walks in a way.
Exactly.
But she didn't even know that was recording. And her exact words were.
Just when she said
you
she
could
was
hear her
terrified.
roughing of a
And how did they
newspaper,
get that
right?
recording?
Oh, she gave her phone off to the guards as evidence.
She didn't know
But
that
she
was
obviously
on
didn't
it.
know this.
So the
was
guards did use that against them.
No, our team found it.
our team.
Oh, because you had access to the evidence.
We have to be given
Okay,
full
right.
disclosure, so we were given it, but they were never going to use it as evidence, but we did. The exact word was, you could hear a newspaper rustling, so she'd been reading a newspaper. She put it down, and there was something about kids clubs.
Yes.
Yeah, and
You're cutting all our funding for
Karen
our kids
O'Connell
clubs.
was going on
Someone
about
shouted
kids
at the
clubs,
car.
and she was kind of laughing, going, we didn't. And then she puts the newspaper down, and she goes, well, now, what you should do now is, don't even talk to Paul. Paul will be their public relations guy in Labour.
Right.
She goes, don't even talk to Paul. Just go on social media and say, oh, it was terrible. All the poor little children running around the streets and no one to mind them. It's just shameful. That was what she thought of us in Jobstown that day.
Do it now.
And that
Do it now,
recording's
she
there
said.
as well.
Yeah.
That recording was used in
So
court.
people can go onto YouTube
Yeah.
and listen to that.
Yeah.
And then your other girl, Carol O'Connell, who's also in fear of her life, like,
I'm going home to go through more of this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, right.
Oh, it's all there, trust
We're
me.
going down the rabbit hole.
yeah, Karen O'Connell, who's also in fear of her life. This is what this is what's happening at the end of the protest. Oh, it's coming to an end. Like as if they knew it would. We all knew it was coming to an end. We were just having a slow march out of Jobstown. It's coming to an end. That's what happens with the dregs. They don't know how to finish anything. And you know, that was it. Like dregs, the bottom of society. Like, you know, just
And how did
disregard.
So who phone? Their phone's clicked on record. How did that?
And see, they didn't know, the guards, it's my opinion,
That's crazy,
this
isn't
is
it?
something I can't prove, the guards didn't know that was on it, because guess what, we couldn't get any recordings inside, all these Jeeps have recordings, and magically that day, there was no recordings, so we had Joan's phone, and there's no way they knew that was on, because they didn't want us to hear what was being said in that Jeep.
They
And
wanted to give the impression that they were afraid for their life.
but we found video.
Because otherwise,
and footage.
it's not false imprisonment if they're not in fear. But
that's mad, isn't
amazing.
it? That even that got recorded. Do you know what that is? That's just that.
Contempt for us.
You know, that's what it takes for something like this to trip up. You know what I mean? That like
Well,
your phone recording. I bet you when everybody found that out in the room.
Yeah.
the Jeep has recording facilities.
Oh, she nearly
to
died
record
with the
everything
face.
that's said
Imagine.
inside. They turned it off. The guard said that he turned it off because he didn't want to distress Burton and O'Connell. But their voice being recorded, they wouldn't have heard that back. So there's no way in the world that could have distressed them unless we could hear it outside. They wanted to give the impression that they were fearing for their lives. The only snippets that we got were from their phones, and all they were doing was laughing and calling us names. There was never any fear, there was never any crying. Now, I'm sure, at points I'm sure they did have fear, because I mean, I can just picture two women running from one guard to another surrounded by guards, and people running after them, giving out and calling them names.
Yeah, no, you couldn't understand. You couldn't understand it.
But to say that they were
It's not
false,
a
yeah.
pleasant situation. It's not
not.
fearing for your life.
I'm sure it's not.
But,
It
and yeah,
wasn't
but it's not a
side
situation that, to me, it would be a situation that, like, if I went somewhere and that happened to me, I'd put myself in the own situation as well, because, like, if you're going to just walk into Jobstown and kind of, you don't know the lay of the land, as they say, you know, like, that can happen to anybody, you know what I mean, in a way.
But if you're a political leader, and you've crucified the country for the last 3-4 years when you got in power.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean.
Every
like,
single
as a
promise
politician,
that
you
you
don't know how
promised
you've
to
affected these areas, so like it has to be.
And they voted for you. You got landslides. Like you got
they huge
landslides.
numbers. Labour got huge numbers in Jobstown.
I know they got nothing in the
But
next
this is where I
election.
always get lost. I always get lost at the numbers.
so
If
they
the
got-
numbers come out, we
In
get lost.
2011, Labour had a landslide victory in
37
Jobstown.
Right,
TDs.
right.
37.
TDs.
And the
Next
I can't
election.
remember the exact percentage, but they had the highest percentage voltage in the Jobstown area.
Yeah, for over
Then they
40%.
crucified the area, not just that area, they crucified the country, but it affected areas like Jobstown, where we're from. So we know firsthand. It affected them areas terrible.
Yeah.
Nobody gained and everybody lost.
Right.
Then she had the neck 3 years later to just parade herself in there without even a single barrier. Now, I've never seen the Taoiseach go anywhere in this country without barriers set up at either end of the road. And there was none. She just swanned in, thought she'd give her diplomas and leave.
She went there, that's what the barrister says, you went there for a political agenda and a political, you know, but you didn't get the political response you wanted.
So
You got
as
political
the evidence, so we're at the
response.
evidence where, so say the evidence came out that she said this in the car. And, like,
Yeah.
What was her face like in a way? Because what was on this trial as well? So something that like silenced this trial from.
Say that again. Well,
Is there something that silenced this trial that wasn't like? Was this not able to be recorded in the?
You're allowed- no,
courtroom?
you're allowed-
It was played in the courtroom, yeah.
yeah.
No, but like I'm on about their courtroom. Was that not being able to be recorded? Was that not silence kind of thing or something? Stuck
No,
on
so people get
it?
misconstrued
In
now.
infringement or something.
So what happens is,
That's what I'm saying,
beforehand,
this is-
right?
this-
Beforehand, they did try to put a gag on us. They did try to say to all the
A gag,
defendants.
that's what it's called, yeah.
They tried to say to all the defendants, we were having a big assembly for justice, because before the trial started, what they tried to do is, and this is where the conspiracy went, if there hadn't been a jury of our peers, I've no doubt that these men would be sitting in prison now. No doubt.
I believe that.
No
too.
doubt, right?
I believe that too.
So what tried to happen beforehand, they had everything. They had the media saying they were kidnappers from way back in 2014. Every article was against them from 2014 to the trials, right? And then basically, what happened, they were like, oh, what are we going to do? They're going to have ordinary people. We're going to see all this footage. We're going to see the lies. We're going to see what's in the car. We have to make sure they don't get a jury of their peers. So the DPP put forward that nobody from Tala would be allowed to be on the jury, that nobody from that ever commented on social media about the water charges would be allowed to be on the trial, or anyone who ran the pages. So they were cutting off.
So they'd be going through
They
people's
want to
social
cover
media
it.
So
pages and.
who- how many-
They'd been watching jobs.
How many people do you know were on social media saying, please let's all pay our water charges? They were actually saying everyone who was against water charges, right? Yeah.
What happened
Do you know?
was, right,
Yeah.